What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you again tonight to continue our lake breakdown series. This time we're actually going to do another lake here in Texas. It's called Brady Creek Reservoir. This one's interesting, almost completely dried up at one point in time except for down there by the dam, so we were able to see all kinds of good stuff through Google Earth. Stick around, I think you guys are going to like it. Let's go. Like we always do, before we go in and we break down a lake, the first thing we want to do is we want to go out to the Texas Park and Wildlife page, if we're in Texas obviously, and see what kind of characteristics this lake may have. So we're looking at Brady Creek Reservoir. The location is outside the city of Brady in McCulloch County. The surface area of this lake is only 2,020 acres, so pretty small lake. Maximum depth is 48 feet. That's going to be more down here towards the dam side, and it was impounded in 1963. You can see here, you can look at the current lake levels. The fluctuation is about 3 to 5 feet, so quite a bit of fluctuation. Really, I mean, from that, it doesn't look like it, but if I look at the Google Earth imagery, you can see that when I pulled this back, I think it was like 2011, 2012, we pretty much have emptied out the lake other than down by the dam area, so we're able to see a lot of what is in there. Clarity is moderately stained. And then as we look down here, predominant fish species, largemouth bass, channel catfish, and white crappie. We look at lake records. Click that real quick. We'll go in here and take a look at it. Largemouth bass is almost a 13-pound largemouth in 1996. My guess is someone's caught something close to that and they just didn't turn it in. Let's go back. We're going to keep going on down a little bit more, and we'll talk here about the angling opportunities. You can see here largemouth bass is fair, catfish is fair, crappie, and white bass. Then you also have a little bit more information down here where it talks about tips and tactics on how to catch these fish. So let's go ahead and switch over. Let's go over to Google Earth and let's take a look at this lake. So here we are back on Brady Creek Reservoir looking at the Google Earth imagery from this lake. And what we really want to do is I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to take it down to 2011. You're going to be able to see a lot of different stuff that we're able to uncover here. But first off, let's just kind of go over on the left-hand side and let's talk about what we have over here. So first off, we've got channels, lots of different channels that were on this lake. You can see that we've got them all marked here. Really with this green line. So this green line is going to line you up perfectly with where that channel is. Now this is obviously shallower water up here, especially when the lake is down, so you got to be careful up here, but you've got a really good channel down here as well, down by the dam. You've also got a lot of different cover in this area. You've got some hard spots, some creek channel swings. We'll go over all this stuff to talk about here in a minute. You've got offshore stuff too, so quite a bit of offshore stuff. And in fact, this lake to me, if I was going to go out there, of course I've never fished this lake before, just doing the breakdown on it, but if I was going to go out there, I would definitely have offshore in mind. I'm thinking you got to get off the bank a little bit here in order to be able to find some pretty good stuff on this lake. You've also got some road beds that are out here. There's a couple roads here I went ahead and marked for you guys. And then last but not least, you have the boat ramps. There's a few different boat ramps here. So let's go ahead and let's select everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this view over here, this little sidebar, so we can have a full picture of everything that's going on here. And then I'm going to go up to this little time machine bar thing up here, whatever you want to call it, historical imagery. And we're going to draw this thing back, all the way back to 2011. So let's go ahead and draw it back. And when we get down to 2011, I think it's 2011, you're going to see that the water is way down here, right? So now we've exposed everything. So let's go ahead and just start up here, and we'll work our way down the lake. So as we get up here, obviously we've got a pretty good little creek channel or river channel that comes here. When you're fishing these river channels, you know, one of the really good places to find fish are always anywhere where you see those little breakouts, right? What I mean, like, you know, where the little channels go off to the side, it creates these points. And these points can be very, very productive points. So you want to make sure that if you're going up here and you're fishing this area up in here, that you're spending some time fishing around the edges of these points that are up here. All right, so here's your creek channel that goes down. There's another one of those splits, right? You've also got a nice little point that's right here. And then you've got a really good creek channel swing right here. that looks pretty significant. Like you got a pretty good little drop off right here. So I can definitely see some fish collecting up in that area as well. Now you got to be careful up here. Clearly there's tons of brush and stuff like that, but I think it looks like you could navigate your way back here. You've also got a really big creek channel swing going on right here. And so that's what I mean by sea swing. So if you look right here, this is the river channel coming down, right? And then it basically slams into this area right here before it starts to recover and bounce back up and go back towards the north. So anytime you see these areas where it almost creates like a bluff and the river channel is swinging against it, or a creek channel, whatever it is this is going to be a very productive area. So this timber that's right in here and stuff, you want to flip all this stuff. You really want to spend some time right here in this spot. So then we're going to move on up. We're going to take a look at what else is up here. Got another one of those points that's up here. Another good creek channel swing. Got some flooded timber. If we look up here, this looks like an old, I don't know if it's an old fence line or what it is. You can kind of see it through the, just through the contours, but you got some old fence posts and things like that that you could fish around here. You've also got this nice road bed, so if you can scan around the road bed, you may be able to find some old debris, concrete, stuff like that. You can also see here that we showed there was some debris there. Let's move this up a little bit. Let's see what this looks like in 2023, because I think it's going to look a little bit different. So let's see, pull this back, 2022, 19. Somewhere I found this debris. There's the debris. In 2014, you can see there's the debris right in there. There's some rock and stuff like that. There's your fence post that we were talking about. So some pretty good stuff going on right there. Now this is the image from 2014, so it's pretty good. It's not as good as the 2011 one though. So let's draw that back to 2011. And now let's take a look at what's out here. So first off, right out here, if you look at this little flat that's up here, it comes off and there's a little point that's right out here. My guess is that this channel comes down here and swings out this way and probably turns at some point right in here, turns this way and kind of connects to this little channel here. And if that's the case, then right in here, this little point should be a really good spot. Also right in here is going to be a good spot where we put the point right here. That's going to be a great offshore spot. And then if you look up here and you go a little bit in and kind of zoom in a little bit, you're going to notice there's some tires that are right in here. You see those little circles? They're all right in this area. There's some tires in here. There's some debris up off of this point too. This looks like a really good like Carolina rig spot. We've also got some debris here and some more tires back here. And then if you look at this channel, it swings down and it goes right underneath these docks. These 3 docks right here are going to be good docks to fish. Not a lot of docks on this lake, so those are obviously going to be good docks, but you definitely want to take a look at those docks just based on where they set up at on that creek channel. So let's keep moving down. We've got a boat ramp here. Boat ramps might not be as effective on this lake as they are on some of the other Texas lakes that we have. When we're out here in East Texas and North Texas, we just got a lot of mud bottoms. We don't have all this rock. So those boat ramps really are our rock, and so they attract fish, whereas here I'm not sure if they're going to attract fish as much, being that you have so much rock all around this area. So there was some pretty good areas though, when I talk about the rock, and I said, there's a lot of rock on this lake, there is, but there's certain areas where I think where you can find the rock and where the rock sets up and how big it is, that's going to make it a little bit more productive. So you can see here, I really liked this point right here. I like the way it's set up. I also like the fact that it's coming right off of a creek channel swing. And it might even be a creek channel swing right in here, starting from here, maybe somewhere around in here. So definitely take a look at that. You also want to look at this too. This looks like a pretty good channel coming down here. And you've got a nice little point that comes here and some debris and stuff in this area. I could just see that being a nice little collection point. You've also got another big old rock pile that's right in here. You could look at where there's not a lot of rock. It's kind of scattered throughout, but right here is really, really thick over here by this dock. So I'm going to pull this back just so you can see where we're at. We kind of came down that creek channel, and before we go into these, actually let's take a look at these two real quick, and then we're going to draw the water up and show you what it would look like now. So again, this is another one of those situations where there's obviously some sort of a channel or a creek or wash or drainage or something that's creating this little channel that comes through here. So anytime you get those right in here, this point's going to be really good because it's turning and it's connecting to that point. Plus that point is right off of the river channel swing, which is right in here too. So that's going to make it really good. Now I do show that there's some pipe here. So let's move this image up and see if we can find that pipe. And now we can see it here in 2012. You can see the bottom of it. Now you can see it again in 2014 and again in 2014, 2017, it's still kind of sticking out there. So there's something there. I think it looks like a pipe, but maybe it's some kind of a brush pile or something someone put. Not sure what it is, but definitely something to go check out. It's positioned very well in that little channel. All right, so let's keep moving down. We're gonna go back, we're in 2011 still. I'm gonna stay on this high side. We'll make this our last point where it says debris, and let's just stay on this side of the lake for now. Actually, yeah, let's do that so we don't get confused. So here is a nice roadbed. So you notice I've got the roadbed marked for you guys. There's also some rock on the edges of these roadbeds, like right in here, that look like it could be pretty productive too. And then of course, I gotta do what I said I was gonna do, and that was draw that water up and show you what it looked like. So if I draw this to 2023, of course the water's down a little bit there, but let's go back to 2020 where the water's pretty normal. You can see all this stuff that we looked at is not as obvious anymore, but those are all gonna be great spots to go look at. All right, let's pull this back. We were talking about this roadbed and this point over here. Let's go back to 2011 when the water's down, and let's see what we find out here. So first off, we got a pretty nice little point that comes out here. I like this. I like this hump too. The hump doesn't have a lot of debris or anything on it that I can tell, but it still looks like to be a pretty good little area. Of course, lots of rock and stuff like that. As we come down here and get through this little crooked hollow area, come up here, we've got a nice little pond dam or something going on right here. And you can see right here, here's the entryway of it. Anytime you can get those little points like that, those are gonna be pretty good little spots. You've also got a nice little point right here. And if you notice right behind where I put this point spot, it looks like a rock pile or something, pretty significant rock pile, a little bit different than everything else, right? So you definitely want to go check that out too while you're checking out that point. Now let's keep moving up, see what else we can find. We're almost down to the dam. We got another little pond dam that's back in here too, a nice little point, so I've got that marked for you guys. You've got the boat ramp that's here. You got pretty good riprap down here by the dam. And then as we get down, coming down from the dam, there's a couple different things I wanted you to look at. One was just check right in here. Can't tell what this is, a special little pile or debris or something, but something's going on right there in that spot. You've also got a ramp that's over here. And then as you look right here, here's that major creek channel that's coming through here, right? So we're gonna pay real close attention to that and see, does it swing up against stuff? And if it does, we're definitely gonna fish those areas. So right here, we've got a pretty good little point. Another good point right here, a ramp back in there. These points are gonna be very productive, especially right in here, like where I put creek channel swing. Basically that point, this whole bank line right here is gonna be good until you get to probably about that dock or so. And then it still might be good, but maybe not as productive, but definitely right in here. Like right where you see my mouse, that's gonna be a good stuff. That's gonna be good offshore stuff right in there, and good bank line beating right in there where it says creek channel swing. Then we're gonna move down. We're gonna come a little bit further down here. We can see here, we've got a nice little rock pile that's extending out. That'd be a nice little place to throw Carolina rigs, stuff like that. You know, if the water's up, you're a little bit further out there. Don't know if you can throw Carolina rig out there with all that cover or not, but you could definitely try it. If not, drag a jig around or something like that. It's pretty good stuff going on right out in that area. So let's go back 2011 so we don't get confused here. There's that giant rock pile we were just looking at. We got a pretty good little hump that's out here as well. We got some more rock that's over here. It's kind of off the bank, so you definitely want to go look at those. And then as you get down in here, I didn't mark it. Well, I marked it as a creek channel swing right in here because it's starting to swing right in here. But I would basically fish from right here where that creek channel swing starts all the way up to the end of those docks, because you've got a lot of cover here. You've got some pretty good deep, pretty good depth for your water and stuff like that. Just a real good area to go check out. So then let's come back up here. And as we come up here, here's that creek channel swing again, right? Now it's swinging up against the bank line on this side. So these are gonna be the docks you wanna take a look at. It's really cool in this lake. A lot of these docks are right on the creek channel swing. So if you find the docks, you may wanna take a look and see if you can find any fish in those areas. You also got a good boat ramp that's right here. And then as we move on out and follow this creek channel out, we find some pretty good points that are out here too. So this is just a really good main lake point. There's nothing special about it. I don't see any debris or rock piles or brush piles or anything like that on top of it, but it's just a main lake point, and it's setting up pretty good the way that that creek channel swings in there. I can just see that being a pretty good productive area for fish to collect at. Again, you got another big point out here on the main lake that's up there. If you come back in here and you get more up into the shallows, when you get right in here, you've got a really big hard spot that's right here. Now this would be hard to cover as far as, you'd have to definitely do some scanning around and just see where they're at. But you can see here, if you're just out there and the lake was up, this is in 2019, you'd have no idea that right here, the reason why there's no brush and stuff right in this area is because this is a really good hard spot. And that could be a really productive area for you to go find some fish. All right, so let's draw this back to 2011. And let's keep moving on. We're gonna pull this back over here and take a look at some of these other things. So again, a couple more spots just like we looked at earlier, just some really good hard spots that are out here off the outsides of these flats. Could be pretty good, could be pretty productive during certain times of the year. You've also got a nice little point right here. I like this one because this one swings down, right? Imagine the creek channel underneath the water swings down and comes up here, and that point is just setting perfectly right where it needs to be. I also wanted you to check this area in here. I can't really tell what's going on, but some kind of debris and stuff like that where they have a little turn out there. It looks different in different years, so hopefully you'll find something there. And then moving on up, just a couple more spots. Again, that creek channel is moving here, right? And so it's probably hitting this point at some point in time. That's gonna be a really good area right in here, just this pinch point right in here. You're gonna be able to find some fish in here. Take a look at these points. They could be collecting up off those points. Definitely would make some sense there. And then as we move up, we get right back to where we ended before we split off, and that was right here where it shows debris. Now you can see here, if you look at this, you're like, Tyler, that's just a road. There's nothing there. But there is something there. As I move this up, you're gonna notice that all of a sudden that becomes part of the lake. So there is some debris that's in that area. I can't remember where I saw that debris at. But anyways, just something to take a look at. Of course, 2023 right now, that debris is completely out of the water, but the rest of the stuff is definitely in the water and stuff you want to take a look at. Hey, I haven't mentioned it much on this video, but definitely go take a look at our website, simplisticfishing.com. We break down all kinds of different lakes. We have hundreds of lakes out there to choose from. And what you do is you can basically take all these waypoints that we talked about today, put them onto an SD card. We do that for you. We mail it to you, or we can send them to you digitally. You pop them in your graph, you import them in, and you have all these things while you're out there on the lake. It breaks down the lake for you super fast and allows you to be able to go out and get you on some fish, hopefully a lot quicker. Until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Make sure you go check out that website, simplisticfishing.com. Take it easy.